Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? It's Q back at it again. Another Q Reviews. This episode, we are going to kind of tackle a big movie, a pretty big movie, big cast, big director, big controversy behind it, a lot of big things. So make sure, as always, to like, subscribe, share. Make sure to subscribe to CltrStudios. Check out all of the podcasts, all of the music, all of the art and film that's coming from the studio. Let's get into it. Let's get into The Suicide Squad, not to be confused with Suicide Squad that came out in 2016. The Suicide Squad. What is it about? The Suicide Squad is a movie about Task Force X, which is also known as The Suicide Squad. They're going up against Thinker and eventually Project Starfish, which leads them to Starro the Conqueror. Yeah, that's what Suicide Squad is about. They kind of come out the gate just rolling. The cast, too many people to name. I'll put it right here somewhere. The director is James Gunn, who a lot of people might be familiar with because he directed Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. A lot of people were upset when James Gunn was fired from Marvel from tweets, 10 years ago. So Warner Brothers offered him a job and boom, The Suicide Squad. See, I gotta correct myself because if I don't, I can confuse people. So The Suicide Squad. This is a spoiler review. I will be spoiling things about what I liked and what I didn't like. So if you have not seen The Suicide Squad 2021, that's on HBO Max and in theaters right now, turn off this video if you do not want to see spoilers, because I'm going to talk about things that happened in the movie. So again, this is a spoiler review. You still here? All right, let's get it. What I liked. The theme of this Suicide Squad was way brighter and it was great. It fits. It really fits the movie. It doesn't take itself serious at all. So I really enjoyed the theme of it. I mean, characters die like in the first 10 minutes. Like a lot of the characters that you've seen in the trailers die within the first 10 minutes. And there were some serious scenes, like scenes that were supposed to tap into your emotions and stuff like that, kind of get you all, I guess sad and shit. Some of them landed. Some of the jokes were really funny. Some of the jokes weren't funny at all. And then the thing that they really had within their themes was good transitions. I loved every single transition that happened in this movie. I knew exactly what was going on and when it was going on. Another thing I liked was the casting. It was a good idea to bring some old characters back. It was a good idea to bring some new characters in. It was a good idea to leave some old characters behind. That was good. That was really good. And I'm starting to see with James Gunn, he has like his crew, kind of like Seth Rogen. He has some people where he's just, if he's directing it, they're in it. And I really like that. I thought that was really dope. Last but not least, I really like the cinematography in this movie. I think that it was shot well, it was edited well. And one thing that I noticed as a Tarantino fan, James Gunn incorporated the quick zooms that Tarantino does. And like in certain shots, that had me more excited about what was to come than what was actually going on. Because usually in a Tarantino movie with the quick shot or the quick zoom, shit's about to pop off. So I really enjoyed that a lot. So now we're gonna talk about what I didn't like. I didn't really like the unknowing of this movie. So when we were presented with this movie last year, it wasn't really explained that if this movie was a sequel or a reboot or if they were retconning. And I was like, okay, it's kind of a mystery. You have to see the movie to understand. More trailers came out, still didn't see it. So I was like, okay, I'm pretty excited for this. Well, in the movie, they never establish if this is a reboot or if this is a sequel. And it left me confused in the sense of, I was expecting a clear line in the sand of, hey, this is what it is. And they didn't provide it to me. And I didn't like that. Another thing I didn't like, the DC curse. It's continuing to happen even when DC hires a director who created an incredible IP over at Marvel and is using this director to create a very similar IP at DC. It just doesn't work. It's not executed at the same level of quality that it was at Marvel. And I don't know. It's just it was unfortunate because to me, this was not the same movie quality of Guardians of the Galaxy. There were so many things that Guardians of the Galaxy does right that the Suicide Squad just didn't land. I think DC was looking for that. They were looking for that Guardians of the Galaxy feel, and you just didn't get it. Last but not least, I didn't really like the trolling in this movie. A lot of the characters that were in this movie, that died in this movie, you really feel like they didn't need to be in this movie by the end of it. They didn't serve any real purpose. They didn't really give you a glimpse at the catalog of DC characters because a lot of them were like Z-list characters. It was almost like they were just casted in this movie just to be casted in this movie, just to have a name in this movie. It didn't serve a purpose at all, and I didn't like that. I thought that was very cheesy, very trolly. So in order to be fair to this movie, to be fair to James Gunn and to Guardians of the Galaxy, I feel like, and to the original Suicide Squad, I really feel like you have to compare this movie to 2016 Suicide Squad and really kind of dive deep into that. So that's what I'm gonna do. And so I'll be honest, I liked 2016 Suicide Squad more. Here's why. For starters, the traditional Suicide Squad characters were more memorable, way more memorable. Enjoy the character of Deadshot. Now, I know with Bloodsport, I believe this character was written specifically for this movie, but Deadshot is just a more, I feel like Deadshot was more of a warm character in a movie that was very cold. With Idris, I felt like he was a cold character in a movie that was warm. And so it didn't really work, in my opinion, for the character. Idris did a great job with acting. The character, just, I don't know. I didn't really rock with that character. Another thing that I liked about Suicide Squad 2016, the theme was darker and it worked. So the theme in this movie is way lighter, and it's lighter in the sense of it being a DC movie. The darker was better because it was dark comedy. It was a dark mission. Suicide Squad. For this one, I didn't really feel like we needed to go in feeling like this was going to be a family, like they're going to be a family. This doesn't need to be Fast 9. It doesn't need to be Guardians of the Galaxy. But unfortunately, we have to compare it to Guardians of the Galaxy. Another thing that I liked about Suicide Squad 2016 more was the intensity of Amanda Waller, who's played by Viola Davis, was more intense in that movie because nothing really shook her. In this movie, like, we saw her get hit in the head with a golf club and her own team like went against her. And I don't know, for someone who's a fan of that actual character and a fan of Viola Davis and a fan of just this property, when that happened, I know the movie's not supposed to take itself seriously, but I felt like in that moment, man, that shit wouldn't happen. What? Amanda Waller getting hit? Like, it would have been more believable if she like caught the golf club while somebody swung it and like lunged it in that person's throat. Like, that's how badass Amanda Waller is. And this one, like, that happens and I was just like, man. Last but not least, not having the Joker or Batman or Flash, not having a main DC property in the Suicide Squad really affected how I viewed the Suicide Squad. One of the things that I really liked about Suicide Squad 2016 was you had that scene with Batman, you had the scene with the Flash, you have the scenes with Joker, with Jared Leto. Despite how you feel about that, it still showed how much of an importance these characters were to the DC Extended Universe. In this movie, Bloodsport is known for putting Superman in the ICU. If that's the case, why wasn't he called last time? If he's so cold, why wasn't he called last time? Why'd you call Deadshot, who got caught by Batman? Things I don't understand. Continuing to compare this movie, you have to compare it to James Gunn's other work, such as Guardians of the Galaxy. In this, of course, I like Guardians of the Galaxy way more than I like this movie. It's because the characters had more cohesion. They made sense with being together for a specific reason. In this movie, yeah, they're a rat pack that goes and like this is a job for them. The synergy just wasn't there in my opinion. I didn't think so. I like Guardians of the Galaxy more because the studio had an idea of where Guardians was gonna go after Guardians ended. It's very clear with DC, like, yes, Peacemaker, played by John Cena, is getting his own show on HBO Max. He deserves it. He did a great job in this movie. He wasn't overrated or underutilized, so phenomenal. Can't wait for that show. But with this property, I don't know where this property goes after this movie. Moving forward, should I even be invested in this property? And also, man, the music was way better in Guardians of the Galaxy. Y'all know the awesome mix is just, it's the awesome mix. This one, it tries to be the awesome mix, but it just doesn't land correctly. It doesn't land at the moments where it's supposed to land. Like hearing Come and Get Your Love, like in the opening scene of Guardians, is probably in my top 5 moments in the MCU out of the 24 movies now. And last but not least, the story was more in depth in Guardians of the Galaxy than the Suicide Squad. You know, understanding Peter's story and what happened to his mother, understanding that Gamora is Thanos' daughter, understanding that Drax had his whole family killed by Thanos, understanding that Rocket was built to be a weapon instead of a being, and just the silliness of Groot. Like that is great story. Like that story right there is enough in a nutshell. With the Suicide Squad, I can't really tell you, besides Harley Quinn, I can't really tell you why any of these other characters are doing what they're doing. I think Guardians of the Galaxy and Suicide Squad 2016 was better than the Suicide Squad. And it's not to say that James Gunn did a bad job with this movie, because for everything great about this movie, there's something that it lacks. Overall, I give this movie a 5 out of 10. It's like, it's right down the middle. It has really good scenes, and it really has some bad scenes, some bad like script writing, some bad focal points, some bad turns, things that just didn't need to happen. But then there were things that had to happen, and I was like, that's great. So it's a 5 out of 10. That's my opinion. So yeah, that was the Suicide Squad. That's my spoiler review for the Suicide Squad. They defeat Starro. I don't know, the entire time I was watching Starro, I was thinking of Patrick Star and how wild it would be if Patrick was like evil and stuff. And see, that's how crazy this movie is. That's kind of where it takes you. So I don't know. I also didn't like the Thinker. I thought I would like the Thinker way more than I did. I don't know. So comment in the comment section if you've seen the Suicide Squad. Let me know your thoughts. Questions for the video. Which James Gunn movie did you prefer? Did you prefer this one, the Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2? Or did you prefer, it's not James Gunn's movie, but did you prefer 2016 Suicide Squad over this one? Let me know your thoughts. And last but not least, do you think it's fair to compare James Gunn's work to each other, even though it's from different studios? So, like I said, comment in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think, how you feel. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said before, go show love to the studio. It's down in the description. Right now, I'm playing Texas Relays by Dash the Goat. Go stream that. I'll have a link for that song as well in the description. As always, it's Q from Q Reviews. Be safe, wash your hands, tell someone you love them. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, peace.
You heard? Dash, what up? Jedi, you stupid for this shit.